Hello, how are you? In today's video we're going to do a studio tour as promised, but as I warned you, please bear in mind that I'm in middle of renovating another place and moving into it and then returning this apartment to the state it should be in as like a rental place. So there's a lot of stuff here that isn't normally here and shouldn't be here, but I don't have space to put it anywhere else in order to make a nice studio tour video, so please bear with me on that one. Also, I've tidied up a little bit, but I've left some of the mess in to show you guys where the pain points are in my current studio that I want to address in the new studio. I thought it kind of wouldn't make sense to like tidy it all up and then go, yeah, this is bothering me, where visually you can't tell what's really there to be bothered. Also, yes, I'm going to be complaining about this space a lot in this video purely because I have a new studio in which I can address these problems. However, I have been super lucky to have my own studio, like a whole room for my work, and I have been incredibly grateful for that opportunity. So I don't want you guys to think like I've hated this studio. I've loved this studio. It worked on me so well for so many years. It's only now that the business is growing and I'm growing and I have this opportunity that now I can see the faults that are in this space. But honestly, it has been an amazing studio for me for like the last 3 years, maybe 4 years, something like that. It's worked so well for me and it has adapted with me amazingly as the business changed over the years. So I am super grateful, and this is kind of like also a memory for me to keep this vlog so that I can see what my first studio looked like. So let's get on with the studio tour, and I will flip the camera and start you off from that end and just work around the desk area and then go over there. So first of all, I want to show you guys my little studio angel. He is, well, my studio guardian. It is an illustration I did years ago in a method called semi-blind contour. If you know me, then you know that's my favorite way of drawing, and he's always been my studio guardian and he will be my studio guardian in my next studio, so do look out for him in like the next studio setup. And then just down here I have a board, and this is the only example I can show you, so I might as well show you now. Is a paint board that I made. This is all schminke, and just like that. If you want to know how to make this, there's a whole video tutorial about it. I'll link it up here so that you can find it. But yes, I'm going to change up how I store my paints because I'm not going to have so many empty walls in the next space. And also this has been kind of getting in the way a lot because I have 4 of these boards now. I have one for schminke, one for Holbein, and then one for Daniel Smith, and another one is spread between Daniel Smith and schminke. So it's really taking up a lot of space, and also because I'm collecting more brands so that I can bring you guys more full brand content, that I'm just going to end up with an infinite number of boards if I carry on this system. So I have an idea for another way of storing these paints, and I will show you guys like in a future vlog. I also put this board in front of all the paint boards, and I've ended up having to do that. This is just a foam board because of direct sun coming in, and this one's fine because it's like perpendicular to the window, but the other 3 I can't show you guys because it's behind. I can't show you guys, but like here, there's here, and here. So these 3 had direct sunlight coming onto them, which wasn't great, so I covered them with foam boards. And don't worry about stuff being on here, there is plenty of give here and the paint tubes aren't getting squashed. But yeah, that's what's happening here. All these is just stuff to do with the moving. So another another pain point, well, this is really the first pain point, is this pile. This is where I store my paper. Now you shouldn't store your paper upright like this. This is not ideal. It creates a curve in the paper, obviously, which is not great. But it was the only way I could store the paper at the time, because this bedroom is small. This is a small bedroom that I converted into a studio. If you are gonna do if you are short on space in your studio, but you still want to get full-size sheets, you totally can store it like this. Like, I've been fine doing it this way for 3 years, and it's been fine. The only thing I would recommend you doing is you lay this. I have a spare one so I can show you. You lay this from IKEA, or any like under rug slipper stopper thing. I don't know what you would call it. Anti-slip mats under it, so that your paper doesn't just keep on sliding and gaining more curves. And then here is definitely, so with this paper setup, I've now got my husband to design me a way I can store the paper flat, because I will have the space, as you saw in my last vlog. So that would be really nice to have these papers stored upright, and also like separated, because it's just one pile of paper and they're all different kinds, and I do know where they are and what they are. It just takes time to find them. And this is one of my major pain points in life. And this is where all the projects that I'm working on currently and projects that I've just finished just gets dumped here. So for example, this is the Shinhan swatch sheets that I need to film next. Oh yes, this is a freezer. I have 2 freezers in here because in the kitchen there's no freezer. And that's not ideal, obviously, because I can hear it winding away when I film. And in a new place, I won't have a freezer. And then this is like, I think this is burnt umber and also Hooker's green Tet swatch sheet. So this is like, I've swatched them, but I need to film them. And then here, my Paw swatches. This is the only place I can store them right now. Is all the past swatches that you've seen these filmed. Actually no, you wouldn't have seen these because that's me still working on another project, but all of these you would have seen. And this is obviously the Harbin one. Obviously not the best way to store your swatches, so I'm going to have a bookcase to create a proper archive of these swatch sheets so that they don't get damaged or anything. And then this is just a pile of papers that I want to reuse or just want to use. So whenever I do a lot of cutting sessions and then I end up with big pieces of paper, so this is like a back of a test I was doing for a swatch, then I'll just pile it here and then pull it up. Obviously, a nicer way of storing this would be great. And then up here I have some images that I've done. They're all my own work. I love seeing other people's work, but I don't like having it in my studio because I'm always afraid of just like exactly copying them. And I want to figure out my own language. So these are landscape paintings that I've been doing. This is a acrylic painting I did years ago, and I just love the colors. So I've kept it there because that's the kind of abstract I love creating, and I want that kind of feel with watercolor. And then I have, this is the chart of the 12 colors I mix any paints that I'm testing with on the big sheet, and then some inspirational stuff. And then I have this massive, I think this is an A0 cutting paper trimmer. It's absolutely massive. It takes up the whole width of my desk, which I'll show you in a minute. And the other problem is this tends to become dumping ground for random things on top of the paper, which again, obviously isn't the best way to treat paper. So this is, the papers are gonna go far away from my desk so that it doesn't become a dumping ground. And then we have this jumble of mess. Let me just get under this. What on earth is happening here? So this is under the desk now that I've sorted it out. I have a whole stack of paper. This is the Fabriano Academia that I find useful for like just rough practices. And then I have loads of paints that are stock paints. So I have multiples of certain colors and like loads of Holbein colors. Why am I out of breath or sounding nervous? I'm not quite sure. So hang on, let me just swap the camera. So with Holbein, when I go to Japan, I buy a whole bunch. I like almost buy out the whole store of Holbein stocks. So because it's so much cheaper than Jackson's, and this is why I say don't buy Holbein from Jackson's, because it's incredibly expensive. I only buy Holbein if you can get them like basically Asian price, because in Asia they are so cheap and they're really, really good quality paints. But over here they price it as at a really high point, like with imports like Daniel Smith, and it's just not worth paying that much for it. So I just buy a whole lot when I go back. And then I have a dehumidifier on top of the whole stack of papers and paints, which obviously again not ideal because this place gets really humid. Scotland in winter gets humid anyway. And then I have this arm which I use to film all my overhead shots. I attach a camera to this thing and then this can move, which is great. I love this system. However, the only problem being is that if I touch this desk at all, because it's attached to the desk, this thing wobbles every time. I'm sure you've noticed it in my videos that my overhead shots just wobble slightly all the time. That is because this was the only place I could attach this to, whereas in the next place I'm going to have a bookcase next to the table which this will be attached to, so hopefully it won't wobble as much. And then this is the overall look of my desk. It is a height adjustable, one of those standing desk things, but it is a one I got from Amazon because the one from IKEA is really expensive. So I thought, I know, I'll go for a cheap IKEA Amazon version, which is not a sentence I ever thought I'd say, that IKEA is the most expensive option. It's been great. However, the only problem being that I forgot I'm 5'4", which is not too bad, but I also have very short legs because I'm Asian, and like a lot of us have shorter legs in proportion that are like, and we have, what am I trying to say? We have shorter legs basically. Well, I have short legs, and this desk and my chair that I'm sitting on doesn't go low enough for me to be comfortable. So what I have to do is have this footstool that my husband kindly bought for me because he kept hearing that I was getting cramps and it's not the right height, so that I could work here. It's still not ideal because then the chair has to be quite high, and it's just not the ideal setup. So in the next studio I've bitten the bullet and bought the IKEA one because I tried the IKEA one in store and it fits me perfectly. I won't need a footstool. It's going to work for me much better. So this table is becoming a cutting desk, so that that big paper trim that you just saw could be here, and I don't have to clear out my work table to be able to use the trimmer. I've also covered it with just a watercolor paper that I've stuck together. Obviously not ideal, but it's because the table I found gets stained very, very easily with staining colors, and most times you can lift it, but with this particular surface the paint won't come out, so I've had to protect it. Again, obviously not ideal. Then we have a stack of journals here, notebooks, which gets in the way obviously of everything. So I'm hoping with the next studio I'll have a bookcase next to my work desk, and I can have all my notebooks on top of the bookcase so that my whole work desk can be empty. Then we have, this is the area, this corner of the table is the area where stuff that I've just bought that I need to try ends up being. Whereas obviously like a little basket by the work desk would be lovely for that kind of thing, rather than it just being here, because I haven't found homes for them yet. Then we have these trolleys, 2 IKEA trolleys that I've had for years. This one I've had for donkeys of years. Like they don't even do this color anymore. But this is where I keep all my stationery. So these are brushes, and I'm not sure if you can tell, but it's split inside with some yarn, and that is to keep the different sizes separate. So I know this is size 10, and I use size 10 the most, so it's closest to me. And then this section is size 8, and then this section is size 12. And then these are more random stuff, like not standard brushes. And I've been organizing my brushes this way ever since I started having this studio, and it just saves so much hassle because you're like not looking for the right size brush. You know exactly where they are. Then I have other brushes in here. So these are all my rounds. These are all my flats. These are all my bigger brushes, or like wide brushes, wide flat brushes. And then these are all my cheaper brushes. Like this one is like from Wilko's, and they're like £1 or something. And then I have tools, again, organized into frequency of use. So these ones I use the most. Let's see if I can get it out. These are the tools I use the most. Actually, I don't use that much. And then these are the tools I use less often, but still quite useful. Then I have my palettes. Again, not the most ideal setup. And look at the stress this container is under. It's not good. So hopefully I'll have like a much more bigger space to organize my palettes. I also have little dishes for mixing colors as well. But I also bought some Ezaras, which are Japanese round water palettes that I want out because they're really good. I'm sure you've seen them in one of my videos. And then I have this palette on here, which is not ideal. This is like my artwork palette. So this is the one where I mix colors, and I like to keep the colors mixed. And because I need to let them dry, and I can't really put it back there because then all the paint's gonna come off, so it just lives there for now. Under it is all my paperworks and stuff. It's where I keep like my tax papers and stuff. And then here I have mechanical pencils in different softness, hardness, and I've labeled them with the lead that's in there so that I know how strong or hard or soft they're going to be. Scissors and knives, pens, pencils, rulers, that kind of things. Right, so this is my favorite ruler of all time, the 20cm one, and it's gridded. It's so useful. I cannot find another one of these. If you see this and it's 20cm and it's in blue, here is the brand name. If you see this, buy it for me and send it to me, and I'll pay you because I can't find this. Right now, I am testing out the Faber-Castell version because they have a 20cm one. I am very particular that it needs to be a 20cm ruler because that's what I find useful. And it's okay, but the grid isn't as standing out on white paper as the blue. So if you see a blue gridded 20cm ruler, please do let me know. And then I have my hand cream. I think this is an alcohol spray. My post-it notes. This is just a mess. This is gloves that I use for handling paper with, because I always moisturize my hand, because one thing I don't like is manky hands on close-up videos. But then obviously with it being greasy, with my hand being greasy, I sometimes need to wear gloves. These are all palettes. This is Schmincke palettes, and then this is Daniel Smith's palettes. Oh, hang on, no, this is Holbein, this is Schmincke, and then all that is Daniel Smith. Then I have all these tools hanging off that are really useful. If you don't have one of these, get it. It's so useful. It's for squishing tubes and getting every last bit of paint out. And then this is a tube opening tool that Eb sent me. Super useful because, as you know, I make a lot of dot cards. That's a lot of bottles or tubes to open, and this saves my life. I have rulers of various lengths Again, gridded. I only ever use gridded rulers. I buy other rulers. I don't know why, because I only ever end up using these gridded rulers. These are great. If they did this in 20 centimeters, that'd be great, because the grids are quite bold and you can see them well. And then I have random bits of art supplies. These are pens. I know there's some bookmaking stuff in there. And then I have stationery down here, which is like hole punches and clips for the holding the paints, and what do we call this? Heat guns. That's it. And then all my ink cartridges for my Epson Workforce. Another pain point is that I have random art supplies here because I've kind of outgrown this space. Ever since I found out that I'm getting a big space, I've just started shopping a bit, and I have definitely outgrown how much this place can store. So it's just down here for now. This is like the Holbein one. This is a palette I want to test. These are rewards for my $50 patrons at some point. Oh, let me get up. I'm at the stage where I have to make noise to be able to get up. Then we move on to this bookcase. Here's an overall shot. We have lots of A3 folders to hold the swatches, but I've run out of space, and that's why I've had to get rid of some swatches, which obviously broke my heart because it's a lot of hard work and they're pretty and they're useful. I have a very small library of books because, as you can see, I don't have book space for lots of books, whereas in the next space I will, which means I can buy some nice books. Greaseproof paper, a good stock of them because I cover my dot cards with them. These are my yarn, knitting, crochet stuff. These are my swatch cards. And then my collection of Leuchtturms that needs using. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Please let me know, my German viewers. I love Leuchtturm. I will always be a Leuchtturm fan. Then I have my handmade sketchbooks, which I promise I will do a video of at some point. But this is all my handmade sketchbooks and a good stack of them. This is where I keep all my tapes. And then this is what I use as a drying rack. I have these boards which are on here right now and also here. It's basically foam board. I know I can't say that word properly. That is sandwiched with 2 mounting boards with double-sided sticky tape. Works great, lightweight, nice and cheap. And then this is where I dry the dot cards normally. It's currently turned into a dumping ground because, again, I've been shopping. These are postcard size pocket organizer things. You know what I mean, for the binders. And I'm going to be putting my new swatch cards in them. Then I have couple more books, and then this is the big, you remember this if you've been watching my videos, this is the color wheel color palette, and I'm keeping them just in case I do a bit more, because I think there's I want to make another video that makes it really clear how to mix it in any color you want. Then I have the spare Holbein dot card sheets, loads of old towels because we all need towels in the kitchen, no, in the studio. My scanner here, loads of folders, just random rest of stuff. Let's not get into it. And then all my packing stuff is basically wherever I have space for. So this is all envelopes, scale, like stickers and stamps, more envelopes and cards, more packaging. I'm gonna have a whole bookcase for packaging in the next place so that all this doesn't look like this. And then we have, I think that's just pop bags and stuff. I love like little pouches and bags. These are gauzes, and this is my sewing box. This is my stationery box. This is stationery that I'm currently using box. This is a box of partly gouache, so about that much is gouache, and then top here are random stuff. And then we have this bookcase. See, this is a problem. Because I'm short on space, I end up putting loads of stuff in front of stuff, which is not ideal, and hopefully in the next place I don't have to do this. But on top here are Roman Szmul paints. So if you remember, I made a whole palette for Roman Szmul. So both of these white ones are Roman Szmul palettes. And then this is the new colors that I made a palette for. And a couple of sketchbooks, again, not ideal. Some art supplies that I'm created for a course. These, I think they're called the A0, is it the A0 boxes? E0 boxes from Amazon are great for organizing, but I want to cover them. With these bookcases, these baskets are great, but then it doesn't quite fit a fourth one, but an E0 will fit in this space, so I've been collecting them and just covering them with white gaffer tapes, and hoping that I'll get away with it. Not the best, but it's also like I'm not an interior designer, so it's fine. So I've been collecting more of these, and I'll be covering them more. Maybe I'll use contact sheets next time, but that just feels like a lot of faff. I don't know. This is my address label printer, so if you've received any Patreon rewards from me before, you will see your address would have been printed on this machine. Loads of dot cards. This is where I keep all my dot cards, and obviously they are labeled, organized. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think that's another one, and then there's another one on the floor because I'm running out of space. And I keep like stocks of, this is backing paper for the Patreon paintings. This is a paper for Patreon painting themselves. These are Patreon paintings for next month, all done. And this is more taped ones that I can use immediately. This is the envelope for all the dot cards. More dot cards. This is for this month, and then this is empty, and then this is all more paints that needs a home. This is Sennelier as well as random watercolor mediums, so obviously I want that in two separate things. These are all the watercolors for dot cards, so I have them grouped into each dot card. So this is the Hooker's Green dot card paint, so that if I need to make a top up and restock, then I can easily do that. I used to only have what am I gonna say? I can't remember, never mind. I do remember, it's just going to be really complicated to explain to you guys, and this video is long enough as it is. And these are more of the older dot cards in paints for them. More paper pre-cut. Oh, sorry. And then these are random selection of different brands of paints that I want to organize into their own baskets. And I think this is basket of things I still need to make videos about. These are supplies that I have already made videos about. Ooh, and then we go back up here. This just came installed with the apartment. It's an overhead. It's actually an overbed, because this was a bedroom and the bed was right under, which I don't feel safe sleeping under like a big shelves like this. But this side is all paper, so like toilet paper, no, not toilet paper, what am I talking about, tissue paper and kitchen paper, because, you know, art studio, we need a lot of art kitchen paper. I don't know why I sound so breathless and nervous. I'm not, obviously I'm used to making these videos. And then on this side I have bubble wrap. I love fluffy blankets, and this is like a fluffy blanket in waiting, because I buy them when I see them and then I have a good stock of them. Some spare palettes that are waiting there just in case I need them. And then here I have different mounts just hanging there, so that if I want to mount something, then I can use these as template because I sometimes paint big paintings and then go around with small amounts and see what pieces of painting I can create from it. This is my baby. This is my Epson Workforce printer. I can't remember what the model number is. Workforce 7210. And this is where I do all my printing for doc cards and test sheets and everything. This can print waterproof ink. So I think I have a vlog, I'll link it up here, of how I do that and my setup so that you guys can print it at home yourself. Obviously, I also have all the swatch cards, all my different swatch cards are available on my Patreon. So if you want to do the same thing that I do for your own personal use, then you're more than welcome to do that. Note the personal use, we're not going to go into that, the whole thing, but you know what I mean, if you know what I mean. And then this is where I store my spare boards. I think that's it. That is my whole studio. I hope you enjoyed the tour. I hope... Oh yeah, this is my halo lamp. It's been great and I love this halo lamp. The one thing with this setup is we get gorgeous natural light, but let me just turn the camera around. But what I didn't really take into account with this setup was that Edinburgh has super changeable weather, and the sunlight level, like I can feel right now, it's the light level is changing as I speak to you guys, changes all the time, and it's just not ideal. So most of the time I have to wait for the right day to film, which obviously fights with my mental health and how my spoons are doing. So that's not ideal. And also if I get rushed to make a video by a brand like Shinhan did with the last video that I did, then it's just they're just gonna have to live with the fact that the light levels change. Whereas in the next one, I'm not setting up my filming desk by a window, I am learning, and instead I'm gonna rely on 2 studio lights, and hopefully that will produce a much more stable lighting setup. I'm not sure if it's coming through in the video, but like the light level is changing all the time as I speak, and I really noticed light levels changing. So for example, today it was going to be a big filming day. I was going to film all the Shinhan videos, but I can't because the lights are changeable so much, and today is just not an ideal day. I'm either have to go to put an apology, well no, I would have to put an apology on the video about the light levels, and I'm very particular about the light levels in my swatch videos because I want you guys to be able to see in stable lighting condition, and so that really restricts my filming ability. So hopefully in the next place I'm not going to be so affected by it, hopefully. So in the next studio I'm hoping for a lot more organized space, but also better quality videos because I will have better lights. I'm also going to have more camera arms set up. One of the problems with this setup right now, I can only have one arm on the desk because, as you saw in the setup, I have lots of things I need to reach to from where I'm sitting, and so I can't, for example, put anything on this side of the table because that's where I can see like where the brushes and the pens and pencils are, and obviously I reach for that quite a lot. And if there was an arm there, I tried living with a couple of arms on that side and it just was not happening. So I'm restricted to this angle and then whatever this arm can reach, whereas in the next place I'm going to have camera arms on 4 different places. I've also finally bought a better arm for my big expensive microphone that I've had for like a couple of years but not been able to use because none of the arms that I had were strong enough to hold them, and then my husband found me finally one that does hold the mic fine, so I will have that, so hopefully better sound quality as well. Yeah, so hopefully it'll be a lot of improvement in the next place. I hope you enjoyed this video of my old studio before I move out. It's kind of bittersweet because I have grown so much in this room. You know, I started from scratch. I started from just the desk, and it wasn't even a standing desk, it was a dining table, and it's adapted with me so well. But it's time for me to grow bigger than this space, and hopefully, you know, have many years of happy studio life in the next place. And hopefully I'll be able to bring you guys lots of fun videos and fun vlog. Hopefully, like, because I'm not an interior designer, it's never going to be a beautiful studio, but I've made a bit more effort in making the next studio prettier because it's my own and I don't have to work with rental furniture. So like most of the furniture in here what came with the flat, and I can't obviously throw out a whole bookcase just because it doesn't look nice. Whereas in the next place, because I get to plan from scratch, hopefully it'll be a little bit prettier, which will make me a bit more comfortable to vlog, because yeah, I do feel like a little bit of pressure to produce a pretty vlog, because that's what does well on YouTube, and I have a lot of anxiety about like things like this mess being in the background, even though I personally know that this is a temporary mess and like I don't normally live like this, but you guys don't know that. So yeah, this gives me anxiety, and like I can see in like behind me in the mirror showing all the mess and stuff. So yeah, this is an anxiety inducing video, but hopefully with the new studio it'll be nice and pretty, and then I can like be happy taking videos in whatever way. Also, thank you so much for coming over to this second channel. I know if you're a Patreon and you guys are on the audio hangout level of pledges, you will know why I had to create a second channel. I really appreciate you guys coming over from the main channel to check me out and help me get this channel monetized, because I don't know if you know this, but when you start out a channel, you might see adverts because of the new YouTube contract, but we don't get paid until we get like 1,000 followers and a certain number of certain hours of views. So you guys coming over here and subscribing to this channel and watching all my vlogs is going to be super like, it's the thing that's going to make this channel work. If like once we reach that point, then I'll get paid. So I didn't sleep well last night, so I'm not making much sense, but I've uploaded the other 2 vlogs that I've done recently, so you guys can watch that if you want. Just because I wanted like the whole story to make sense rather than like not having those first 2 ones. So yeah, thank you so much for coming over. Please subscribe if you can, it'd be much appreciated, and check out all my other vlogs. Even if you've seen it, like if you just want it to play in the background, that's cool, because that will really help with the watch hours. Thank you so much for your support, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!